أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي آمين يا رب العالمين. Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope all of you are doing well and been practicing what we have studied so far. In the previous lesson we had studied the types of ism and we had discussed the three groups that an ism can be divided into. This chapter is a continuation of that lesson, and here we are going to elaborate on two of the groups that we have studied earlier. So let's get on with it. And before we begin, as always, we are going to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us and make this easy for us, inshallah. So Rabbi Yasir wala tu'assir wa tammim bil khair. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. So let's get on with the elaboration of the Ghair Munsarif Asma. From our discussion earlier on, we remember that ism can be divided into three types: the Munsarif one, then we have the Ghair Munsarif one, and finally Mabni. Alright, so what are the two most important things for each of these groups? Number one, all the Munsarif Asma carry a tanween. Okay, so we have tanween. Neither of these two have a tanween. Okay, so these are without tanween. So this was the first point. What's the second one? Second point is that in the Munsarif Asma, the Rafa form is not equal to or is not similar to the Nasab form, and it is in turn not similar to the Jar form. Okay, so we have Rafa form in then Nasab in an, and the ending sound of Jar configuration is in. However, if we make the ism Mu'arraf bil lam, in that case one of the vowels gets off, okay, and we get landed with the u sound, a sound, and e sound. So that's about the Munsarif Asma that we need to remember. Next we have the Ghair Munsarif Asma. What happens here is that the Nasab form is similar to the Jar form, but that is different from your Rafa form. So we have uh, the forms such as Masajidu, Masajida, Masajida, or Ibrahimu, Ibrahima, Ibrahima. Alright, so this is about the Ghair Munsarif Asma. Then next and finally we have Mabni Asma. And over here, what's the deal? Well, the Rafa form is similar to the Nasab form, which is in turn similar to Jar form. So we have, for example, the word Zalika, again Zalika, Zalika, or for example Husna, which is a Rafa form, then again Hasna, and again Husna. Okay, so it's same in all these three configurations. Similarly, we have words such as Musa, Musa, again Musa. Alright, so this is the classification of along with the elaboration and the main summary points of all the three groups. This group, which is a Munsarif Asma, the ones that carry Tanween, they form the majority of the Asma, and they are about 80% of all the Asma in Arabic. And this is about the Ghair Munsarif Asma are about 15%. okay, and the remaining ones are mabni. So that's also a an important point. Okay, so our major concern, of course, would be the Munzarif Asma. Alright, so now we need to know, in this chapter we need to cover what are the subcategories of Ghair Munsarif Asma and the Mabni Asma. So let's get on with it, inshallah. Alright, so what's included in Ghair Munsarif Asma? Before we begin, once again, I need to just make a tiny little alright, this is 6 and then 7, 8. Alright, so there are 8 categories, 8 subcategories of Ghair Munsarif Asma, okay, and over here we have the names of countries and uh, names of countries and cities, okay. For example, Makkatu, Makkata, and Makkata. Okay, we're going to cover all these. We're going to have a look at what I've written above. Okay, but just to get an overview of how many subcategories they are. So we have number one is your majority of the cities and countries' names are Ghair Munsarif. Next, we have the names of angels. Okay, for example, Jibrilu, and then we have the majority of the female names are also included in this subgroup. Next, we have 3 categories of the male names. So first of all, we have the ones that are the non-Arab prophets, and then we have over here we have the Arab names, Arab masculine names that end in round ta. All right, and there are some other names that end in ani or anu. Okay, we're going to cover it once again. And then finally some miscellaneous groups and some miscellaneous names. All right, and finally we have a special thing, some special structures. Okay, so that is included in Ghair Munsarif Asma, and we are going to cover each of these in detail. Okay, but just to have an overview, okay, so that you don't get overwhelmed while we start covering those subcategories along with the examples, I decided to give you an overview. So we have 8 subcategories of Ghair Munsarif Asma. Let's get started. Okay, so as I mentioned, number one is the majority of countries and the cities' names, for example, Makkah. And alright, so this tu sound gives us the clue that um, it is actually a Rafa form, okay? And since there is absence of tanween, we know that it is Ghair Munsarif, okay? So Makkatu, then we have Makkata, which is your nasab form, and then jar form, as we already know from our overview and our summary, that jar and nasab forms in Ghair Munsarif Asma are similar. Therefore, Makkatu, Makkata, again Makkata. All right. Next, we have many female names that are Ghair Munsarif. So we have Aishatu, which is Rafa form, then Aishata, Nasab slash Jar form. So Aishatu, Aishata, Aishata. Similarly, Fatimatu, Fatimata, and again Jar form would be Fatimata. Alright, so next we have the angels' names. As I mentioned earlier on, it's Jibrilu, which is the Rafa form, then Jibrila slash Jar form would be Jibrila. Okay, it's the same thing. So Jibrilu, Jibrila, Jibrila. Next we have the non-Arab prophets. For example, Ibrahimu. So this is your Rafa form, okay, and Ibrahima slash Ibrahima. Alright, so this would be nasab, and then jar form would be Ibrahima as well. So Ibrahimu, Ibrahima, Ibrahima. Alright. Next, Arab male names that end in round ta. So we have an example here. We have Usamatu. Alright, so this two here, it gives us the clue that it is Rafa, and then Usamata, again Usamata. Alright, in jar form. Alright, then next is those Arab male names that end in Ani or Anu, actually, because Anu is your Rafa form and Ana is well, Ani is nothing. Okay, it's so it's Solimanu or it's Solimana, which is your nasab slash jar form. Okay, so it is a page over here. So Arab male names that end in Anu, such as Sulaimanu or Sulaimana. Alright, so this is done, and these two groups. Alright, so we have the miscellaneous names that haven't really been grouped. They include the names Fir'aunu, okay, which is again Fir'aunu or Fir'auna. Alright, Fir'aunu, then we have Fir'auna and as a nasab or jar form, and then we have Iblisu slash, now this would be Rafa, and then Iblisu, then Iblisa or Iblisa in Rafa, I'm sorry, in nasab and in jar forms. So done with this as well. Finally, we have this some special derivatives that we will learn in upcoming chapters, and we already know this word masajidu because we've been practicing it for, I don't know, 2 or 3 chapters now. So the word masajidu is an example of such a derivative. For it is a plural of mosque. Okay, it is a plural of mosque. All right, so a little elaboration on this point. Okay, so in Arabic, uh, the words, all the derivatives, all right, all the derivatives that we are going to learn in future, and even this one here, this is a derivative, okay, and all the derivatives are made up made up of 3 root letters, okay, and these 3 root letters they form a root word, okay, which is the natural and the default state of that ism, and that's how various grammatical rules and prefixes and suffixes they get acted upon them, and that's how various other derivatives are formed. You can explain, you can get this idea by the words such as for example, you have exam, all right, so that becomes, I mean, how many words can you form from this word exam? You can get examination, you get examined, you can get examinee, okay, examinee, then you get examines, then you get examiner, of course, how can we forget that, examiner, okay, exams. So all these are derivatives that are formed from this root word. Alright, so the difference in Arabic is that in Arabic, this root word actually consists of 3 letters. Okay, so if we look at this word masajid, we already know that sajda has 3 letters. Okay, so as in it has a sajdatun, but for the sake of argument, let's just know, we know that this is a rather common word actually, okay, and we know that the root word or the root letters in this word are sin, jim, and dal. All right, so from these 3 root letters we get loads and loads and loads of words. Okay, they include verbs, the fail, then we have so many nouns. All right, there are a huge number of derivatives. Okay, so and all of them are really simple. So one of the ways of making such derivatives is to set, or to rather fix, these root letters in that in that pattern. Okay, so for example, if we have sajada, all right, so this is already the part of the mold, okay, in which we are going to put this these three letters. So we have this with a zabar on it, then we have a dash, then we have an alif, and then we have this with zir, okay, dash with zir, and then again dash with pesh. Okay, so if we fix, or if we superimpose these letters on in this pattern or in this mold, we are going to get this here. Okay, so it becomes masa, and then this gets here, so masaji, and then masajidu. Alright, so this masajidu pattern is one of the special derivatives that is in ghair munsarif form. We're going to learn these patterns, alright, and once again, it is something that doesn't follow the grammatical rules, but it's totally up to the Arab linguists. All right, so they have set up these patterns, and in Arabic they are called wazan or ozan. Okay, so it's like saying that just like I fixed, or I superimposed these letters, these root letters, in this pattern. All right, I will be discussing this subject at length in near future, inshallah. All right, so once we are done with a couple more basics, and then we are going to discuss this concept in detail, inshallah. All right. Okay, so that's how we get these patterns. Similarly, there are many other patterns that get formed this way. Okay, for example, we have maktab. Maktab is a desk. How do we know? Because the pattern here is, where is my pen? All right, so pattern here is meme with, or I'll just connect it. All right, so this is ma, and then again I have a dash over here with a sakoon, then I have another dash with a zabar, and then I have, all right, I don't have this, I have another dash, all right, with, let's just say it has Sakun for now. Okay, so if I get, all right, how about I must, and then instead of Zabar I make it Zir, and I make it Un. All right, now I'll discuss this. So I have uh, but yeah, same root letters. Okay, Sin, Sin, Jim, and Dal, so it becomes Mas, J, Dun. Alright, now I can see this dun thing here, so this means that it is a Munsarif ism and not a rare Munsarif ism. Okay, so this I gave this example, I discussed this example to know that how this superimposing works. Okay, this is just a glimpse to it, so we'll be discussing it and we'll be practicing it at length, and in fact the entire Arabic is about this thing, about this concept. Okay, so if you haven't exactly understood it, don't worry. All right, we'll be doing it uh, all way for a very long time. Okay, so just don't worry about it. The thing the take home message rather is that there are some special derivatives that are also included in a rare Munsarif group. Okay, and Masajidu is just one of those. All right, so we know the eight subgroups of غير منصرف asma. We have the special derivatives, then the miscellaneous names that haven't really been grouped anywhere else. Then the Arab male names that end in anu, then Arab male names that end in the round ta, then non-Arab prophet names, and then the angels' names, many female names, and the majority of countries and cities' names. Now you notice that all of these are your ism alam or asma'i alam, okay? And alam we know is the proper name, proper noun. Okay. So finally we have this non-flexible asma, which is your mabni asma. Now we already know that they do not carry a tanween, number one, and number two, their rafa, nasab, and jar forms are identical. That's the reason I did not write this Yahya thrice or even twice. Okay, so this Yahya is the rafa form, it is the nasab form, it is the jar form. Similarly, the word with Musa, Isa, all of these are the same words. Okay, so they are going to be the same in rafa, nasab, and jar forms. Similarly, we have some pointing nouns such as haza and zalika. Haza means this, we already know about it, and zalika means that. Okay, so these are some of the terms. Similarly, there are some other words such as kubra, husna. All right, so all of these are your mabni asma and not flexible because their rafa, nasab, and jar forms are similar or rather identical. Alright, so this was our lesson 5b in which we uh, covered the summary of the three types of asma, and we also did the uh, subcategories of mabni asma and the ghair munsarif asma. And in the next lesson, inshallah ta'ala, we are going to cover some basics, some basic stuff, okay, some basic theoretical stuff rather. And after that, we'll be jumping on to the gender, where we'll be discussing how to convert masculine's ism into its feminine counterpart, okay. And similarly, we are also going to learn how to identify an ism if it is a female or a feminine, okay, not female but feminine, that's the correct terminology. So we'll be doing musakkar and muannas in the next two lessons, inshallah. All right, so in the meantime, just memorize this chart, this summary, okay, and the basic points of each of these three groups. That's all that you need to remember. And don't worry if you do not have any vocabulary right now, it's going to build up with the passage of time. Okay, so just do not worry about them. And what you do have to worry about is practicing, okay, because the more you practice and the more frequently you practice, you're going to find out that it's getting easier for you and the concepts are going to be even easier for you. Okay, so keep on practicing, and until next time, inshallah ta'ala, barakallahu li wa lakum fil Quran al Hakim, and I'll see you in the next lesson, inshallah. Allah Hafiz.